I need to talk about Wonder Woman. I need to talk about Wonder Woman. Oh, oh my god. Okay, so on a whim, and mostly also because I've had these films in my watch later list on YouTube for months, literal months. Because if you don't know, well, it's a question of when they're gonna get removed, but DC has quite a few of their animated movies on YouTube right now for free, and it's been that way for a couple months now. And I've slowly been working through it. Okay, there's a bunch that I haven't watched, and I am slowly going through and trying to watch them. I was very excited to find out that both of the Wonder Woman animated films are on there for free. And I thought, why not? Why not just watch them both? I watched Wonder Woman 2009 and Wonder Woman Bloodlines from 2019, which, let's just say, let's get the cat out of the bag. Oh, I don't know about the feeling. I don't mean to be like a feminist. I mean, I do, but whatever. 10 years? We get a Batman movie every fucking year. Now, I will say, I'm a huge Batman fan. I love Batman. I love Batman. I love Batman. But we have like 50 Batman movies coming out a year. And there's only two animated Wonder Woman movies. There's like 15 Superman ones, and there's like 75 Batman movies. Whoa. Now, if we're getting technical, this sent me down a rabbit hole. There's actually 5 Wonder Woman movies. I saw both of the theatrical films in theaters. You know, the Gal Gadot ones, the Galeno, you know, those. But that came out in like 2017, so that means between like the previous Wonder Woman movie to come out and the first live action one, we had a gap of like a little bit under 10 years, which I'm like, that's not much of an improvement. You have to add into the fact that apparently, I found this out very recently. Well, I knew this movie existed, but I had never cared to watch it until this morning. In fact, literally like 2 hours ago, I decided I was going to watch also the 1974 Wonder Woman made for TV movie, okay? And I watched the 2011 TV pilot. I've watched it all. So really, the only Wonder Woman thing I've never watched is the 70s TV show starring Linda Carter. I've watched everything else. I'm a Wonder Woman expert, okay? I'm an expert in Wonder Woman movies and TV pilots that have the title Wonder Woman in the title. I'm just not an expert on Linda Carter. I mean, I've seen clips from Linda Carter. I think I've actually also seen an episode from Linda Carter. I'm acting like Linda Carter is the name of the show. Oh, also, oh my god, this was what I was getting to earlier. Hello, 1974 is the first Wonder Woman movie. We don't get another Wonder Woman movie until 2009. 2009? That's wild. Me saying, oh, 10 years, that's like, I think that's significant. I'm not good with math. I, in fact, never did well in math in school. But I think that's like 30 plus years, right? Between films. And technically, let's be honest here, the Linda Carter show, right, was from like 75 to I think 78. So that's like fully, I think, 30 years, right? Between these shows. That's insane. And again, I love Batman, but we get a Batman movie every year, basically. Every year. We get like the live action ones, and then we get the animated ones. And let me just say, every single one of those fucking Batman movies are the same fucking movie, okay? We're never doing anything interesting with Batman, really. And here's the thing, like, there's so many Batman storylines you could adapt from, but everybody is like, oh my god, The Dark Knight, The Dark Knight. I don't care. I don't frankly care. Frank Miller, Frank Lee, I don't care. Here's the thing, I have not read The Dark Knight Returns. I am waiting though to read it because I haven't. This is a call out to the person in front of me in line on Libby for New York Public Library. Pick up the pace, babes. Pick up the pace. How long does it take you to read this comic book? It's not that long. So yeah, I'm awaiting that. And you know what? Maybe after I finally get to read it, and then I will watch the beautiful, beautiful animated film adaptations. I am aware that they are the highest reviewed of the animated films, I believe, which I don't know if I'm gonna agree with that, because my favorite Batman movie is Batman Under the Red Hood. Hello? Can you see my... There. You see my baby? You see my son? So yeah, I took notes. I took notes on all of these movies. Let's start with 1974. Oh yeah, we're not gonna talk about the Gal Gadot movies because I haven't watched them since they came out. I saw both of them in theaters and then did not rewatch them. And I don't care to rewatch them for this. But here's what I will say, because this is going to be a recurring theme here. I really like Chris Pine. I really, really like Chris Pine. I think Chris Pine has so much charisma and talent. I find him to be very fun and cool. And I like him, okay? And I genuinely really like his Steve Trevor. Yeah, I don't really remember anything else from those movies, except for that they were not good enough to make me want to rewatch them. Also, 1984 is the only one where Cheetah has like a big role, and I love Cheetah. And Cheetah only appears in 2 of these, and she has small roles. To me, okay. Now, I will say, I'm not like, it's funny that I'm doing this. I have not actually read that many Wonder Woman comics, but to me, when I think of Wonder Woman villains, the first character I think of is Cheetah. I don't think of Veronica Cale. I'm sorry. Apparently, Veronica Cale is the big baddie, apparently. But I don't think about her. I think about Cheetah because I put queer women before straight women in my mind. Yeah, I think Cheetah's really cool. I think she's really hot. Maybe not in 1984. Sorry to Kristen Wiig, but what they did to you in that movie, unacceptable. Though Kristen Wiig is partially responsible for my favorite video on the planet, which is the Gal Gadot Imagine video from 2020. I will never shut up about that video. I love that video. I'm obsessed with it. I have been obsessed with it since it first graced the internet. And obviously, as we know, that whole thing was a promotion, basically, for Wonder Woman 1984.
On Tuesday, Movie of the Week.
Wonder Woman.
Okay, so I did some digging. This was a made-for-TV pilot. It was basically like, you know the Muppets pilot that they just had? The TV special that was like a backdoor pilot? This was a made-for-TV movie that was also supposed to sort of be a backdoor pilot to some extent for a show. That show did not happen. Though, the next year, they did another Wonder Woman pilot, that time with Linda Carter, and that launched a show. Wonder Woman! It's a great theme song. It's a great theme song. I'm obsessed. And then she does the thing where she gets up and then she... You know? She does that, and it's incredible. That's television, man. That's what we like to see in our TV shows. Is Linda Carter spinning and then transforming outfits. I'm not doing a costume change, okay? I could have done a costume change. I could have switched into my Cassie Sandsmark cosplay. That would have been very on theme. But I don't really feel like putting on my wig. And also, I did my makeup like I normally do. So, yeah. Also, I watched this on Internet Archive. Okay, that was where it was. I could have watched it on Daily Motion, and I think that would have been without ads, but I thought it was really funny to watch it with the ad breaks that were on television when this aired on a Tuesday. Apparently it aired on a Tuesday because the thing opens up being like, it's our Tuesday movie night on ABC. I specifically want to take note, there was a JCPenney ad that was about a washing machine, and I swear to God, I swear, the narration, I don't know if it was the guy from the Twilight Zone, but it felt like it was supposed to give off that vibe, talking about a washing machine like you were going to enter into another dimension.
The things you don't look for in a washing machine that we want you to see in the JCPenney washer.
So, the other thing I need to probably bring up is that this is not a typical Wonder Woman. Basically, what you need to know, and I cannot give you the exact information on this because I don't remember when this happened exactly, but I know it happened. I believe in the 60s, might have been in the 50s, but I'm pretty sure it was in the 60s, that DC decided, you know what would be crazy? What if we took away everything that makes Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman, and what if we made her a secret agent? She's working for the US government, bitch. And that is what this is. She is decked out in her little, it's like I was gonna say it's a romper, but she's wearing a skirt, so it's not a romper. But I think her outfit's really cute. And that's what I will say is the case with the secret agent kind of thing, where she's no powers, she's running around in a cool little outfit. I do not agree with the choice to do this, but the fashion was on point. That is what kind of this film is going off of. That whole secret agent thing. She doesn't really have powers in this. She has some cool gadgets. One of her armbands fully explodes. The other one, it hooks on to her belt, and then she can use it as a little lasso and get herself out of a little tight squeeze of a building. It's great. It's great. Honestly, I loved it. I had a great time watching this movie. There's some really fun moments. I am gonna have to find a way to insert the donkey clip. Oh, the donkey. The donkey. I'm skipping around here. This happens like maybe 20 minutes into the film. There's this crate in Steve Trevor's office, and he's like, maybe there's a bomb and I'm gonna get exploded. Turns out, no bomb. There's a donkey. Oh yeah, there are these two cunty little assassins. I don't know if we ever really get explained what their deal is, but it is a man and woman, and they are completely dressed identically. I don't know if they're a couple. I loved them. They show up like 3 minutes into the movie, they pull out their guns, shoot everybody, and then they're like, what's the deal, George? I don't know who George is. Honestly, consistently amongst all of the things I watch, a lot of these characters I assume were made up because I've never heard of them before in my life. I fucking loved George. I loved this guy. He is a backstabbing villain character. He's kind of flirty with Diana. He cannot swim. That's important for later. He cannot swim. And I love him. He's so fun. In like every scene, he's like, I'm gonna kill you if I see you again, girl. And she's like, I will enjoy that. The way George and Diana play off of each other, I love it. If the world was right and this got continued, I would have loved... Well, here's the problem. Because George gets killed off at the end, that's the biggest problem with this. Because if this was made into a show, I would have loved to have seen more of George. Just a weird little guy. Also, Steve Trevor is in this. He's her boss. Consistently, I forgot he existed in this film. And there's like no romantic dynamic here. And that is what I like to see. because a lot of these films have a romance and I don't think it's deserved. Here's the problem. A lot of this film I stopped paying attention during. It lost my attention at certain moments and then it would gain my attention when something funny happened. Basically, for the first half of the movie, I was really not paying attention that much to what was actually going on. And then stuff gets interesting when the donkey gets introduced. It just shows up all the time. It just will pop up and it'll be like, hey, and it just looks. It's a donkey. Steve Trevor is a big part of the donkey plotline. The donkey verse, per se. He just is having to deal with this donkey, and then he ditches a donkey in the middle of a ghost town. The donkey also fully disappears, though the donkey is not dead. I thought the donkey got disintegrated. The donkey did not get disintegrated. It got teleported. And right after that happens, this room that Diana's in, the wall starts turning into goo. Oh, big thing. The big villain, you don't see his face until near the end. And you turn and you're like, because this was the only person in this entire thing I recognized. It's the grandfather from Spy Kids. Also, he was the Italian guy in the movie Sweet Charity. I have a lot more notes about the ending of this movie because I thought it was very fun. The kind of couple assassins, there's this really great scene. It's when they die. Spoilers, they die. So George pulls out a gun and the guy's like, why, George? The delivery is not great. And then George goes like this. Money. And then shoots them.
Party, drink.
Why, George?
Money?
Also, grandfather from Spy Kids, his getaway is a fucking dinghy. He's on a little dinghy, a little inflatable dinghy with a little paddle and kayaking, and he's just boop, boop, boop. George also tries to get in the dinghy and then can't. He gets pushed into the water and then he's like, I can't swim, and then he drowns. Diana comes up and she's like, she does a dive off of a cliff, and I fully looked at this dive and was like, there's no way she does not hit the rocks. Anyway, he looks down while he's paddling his dinghy, and there she is, and she's like, hey, and he's like, oh, drats. Jump cut to the cops are here and they're arresting him, and he pulls out a cigar out of his pocket, and he's like, do you have a light? And she lights it, and he goes, thank you. Thank you very much. And I thought that scene was really fun. Honestly, I thought their dynamic was great. And in general, I thought this film very 70s. It's a very 70s movie. It's entertaining, especially the donkey. I love the donkey. But yeah, I just think that's a fun movie. It's a fun time.
Look! It's Wonder Woman!
We've skipped forward in time to a time where I am actually alive. But Wonder Woman 2009, the first animated Wonder Woman movie. While I did make fun of parts of this movie, and there were parts of this film I really didn't like, I did enjoy this movie. I just haven't been able to be convinced the whole Steve Trevor thing works in any other time period than the past. I like Steve Trevor being a guy in the 40s that gets probably killed in the war. Oh shit, I just remembered I was gonna go to Gong Cha because they have a Neopets collab. But I want to go and I want to get the drink so I can get the blind box. I think it would be funny to go because we had a snowstorm that hit, and it hit 2 days ago. I did check earlier today if they were open today, and they are. Okay, I'm gonna pause this real quick. I will be right back to talk about Wonder Woman, but first I gotta get my Neopets. I regret to inform that I don't think they had the blind boxes at my location. Okay, it's possible that they do have them, but they didn't have them on the order thing, and I was too nervous to ask the one person who was in there, do you have the Neopets blind boxes? However, I did get a drink. Wonder Woman 2009. It's a riot. It isn't, because apparently this film didn't do well enough to justify a sequel, which I'm gonna be honest, I kind of wish this had a sequel because the ending teases Cheetah. And as I established earlier, I really like Cheetah. Ooh, okay. First note, the opening. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. The opening, incredible. I love this opening fight scene that we see. In general, I actually really like how this film looks. I think there is some genuinely great film work going on. But this one, the opening was just specifically very interesting to me. I love how the sky looks. Thrax, I think that's his name. Not familiar with this character. He's Ares' son in this movie. Hippolyta decapitates him. It's an incredible scene. It looks incredible. And like when Ares sees his son's head on the ground, he's like, "Whoa! Oh my god, my baby!" Great. It's an incredible. It's genuinely, to me, one of the best visuals of the entire film. Okay, this is going to be a reoccurring bit. I really hate Steve's character at the beginning of this.
Wow, haven't had this dream since I was 13.
I know it's supposed to be a bit charming. I actually disagree. I think it is. The film is aware that it's bad.
Hey, I'm into the kinky stuff too, but if you think that's gonna make me more cooperative...
But his comments about kinky and his little wet dream jokes, I'm not into it. I'm not into it at all. I spent this entire movie basically deeply, deeply hating Steve Trevor. And we have a moment near the end where he becomes kind of self-aware and he's like, "I am a dick. I suck. As he says in the film, "I am a pig." The problem is he's so unlikable and so chauvinistic. And I know the film addresses like this is a front he's kind of putting on, but it's so pertinent that I just don't think the film ever really earns the right to have him be a love interest. I think it would have been fine if this got a sequel, because I think you could have actually built on it, but like at the end of the movie they're a full-on couple. No, I don't think that works. What needed to happen is no kiss. We can have like the fake out, like the moment later on in the movie where they almost kiss. Ow! But I think that the big, like the kiss that they actually have, I think it shouldn't have happened. Where they're at by the end of this movie, they are in the early stages of like, we can go on a date. They are not relationship. They're banking on he's charming, but the script needed to be a bit more, give him a little bit more material to be at least like more of a nice guy than like, "I had to save your life. I can't let you die, girl. I can't let you die." Usually those scenes are very earned, but the problem to me, okay, is he spent this entire movie basically being like, "God, I want to sleep with you." Rosario Dawson. She voices Artemis. I loved her in this movie. And honestly, I think Artemis was my favorite character in the entire film. I think she has great jokes. There's a joke where she threatens to castrate Steve Trevor. I was obsessed. Because honestly, yeah, cut his dick off.
So what's her deal?
Her deal is that I will personally castrate you if you come within 5 yards of her.
Ooh, also, okay, when you watch this movie, so it's rated PG-13, I think for good reason, because we fully see Steve Trevor snap a man's neck. And I was like, this must have been rated R at some point. And looked it up. They had to cut the film down to make it PG-13 because the original cut was rated R. Yeah, also, like, I will say on the topic of the fight scenes, the choreography is great, but I mean, it is like, I do think it's a little too violent, specifically for PG-13, and also for Wonder Woman. Like, Wonder Woman here's my thing about Wonder Woman. One of the most important Wonder Woman moments to me is when she snapped Maxwell Lord's neck in, I think it was Olmec Project. It's like the last issue of that, and she fully snaps his neck to get him to stop having a psychic hold over Superman. And it's this big conflicting moment for her because she doesn't really kill people. It's this moment where she has to kind of make that leap, right? That kind of Wonder Woman doesn't. I don't think Wonder Woman has a no-kill rule, unlike her best friends, her buddies, because they both have them. But I don't think she does. It's just I think she tries to avoid that because her big thing is peace and stuff, and she's a diplomat and she's a public figure. She's a cool woman, you know. Ooh, okay, this is a random note that I have in here from when I was going through the Wikipedia article for this. So a lot of the DC animated movies had, like, for their physical releases, merchandise. Oh, actually, I can show one. So they had these, like, when they were selling, like, the Blu-rays or the DVDs, a lot of the time, I don't think they really do this anymore. I don't know if they're doing deluxe editions anymore, per se, but a lot of them would come with little pieces of merchandise, right? And, for example, I bought the deluxe edition for the Justice League Dark movie, first one. And so I have a little John Constantine. Get in it. Look at him. But I was doing some digging, right? And there was a whole section on the Wikipedia page about the merchandise that they did for this movie. And so I have some notes here. Well, actually, I need to look into what some of these look like first. But I am very intrigued. So apparently WonderCon, when they, I think, either showed the teaser, the trailer, or they actually just, like, showed the movie, because that's not that uncommon, they had little tiaras, little Wonder Woman tiaras. Oh my god, I would love that. The big thing, I can't find any information on this online other than on the Wikipedia article. If anyone has the Making of Wonder Woman booklet that was sold with, if you got the film at Borders, if you remember what Borders is, that bookstore that doesn't exist anymore, but the version from that, the exclusive, had a little booklet that was a making of the movie, and it had, like, concept art and stuff. Oh, if you have that, or if you have access to it, or anything, please. Oh my god, I want that booklet. Really badly. And then also, Best Buy, if you got the film from there, they had a little action figure of Wonder Woman. Oh god. Okay, so this film, it was the moment where I sat there and I was like, this was written by a man, is when Diana's in the hospital. She's gotten knocked out. This is after I haven't really been explaining the plot, but this is after Steve Trevor has thrown a grenade in a flying thing's mouth and blew it up. And Diana was unconscious, and now she's in a hospital bed, and she wakes up. And they have a back and forth, and she's like, you should have let me die. You should have fully stopped him. And he's like, I couldn't. Because I can't. I have feelings for you. And she's like, this is typical man stuff. You know, you blah, 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 blah. And honestly, okay, here's my thing. I'm on her side. I support women. I support women always. And, yeah, I have been accused of being a man-hater. And so what? Like, so what? And so they have this whole argument. And Steve Trevor is basically like, it's not all men.
Oh, playing the sex card again, are you? You know what? I've had just about enough of listening to you go on about how terrible men are.
Actually, not all men are evil and are pigs and stuff. I'm like, you have this entire movie, I have been wanting to hit you with a car.
Oh, playing into, this also goes into the whole like, pulling it back to this is clearly written by a man. One of the characters in this, her name's Persephone. I do vaguely remember one of the Amazons having that name. Obviously my first thought is, you know, the goddess. One of the Amazonians, she betrays them. She frees Ares from jail. Right? But her name's Persephone, and she, like, right when she's dying, she's like, she does this whole thing where she's like, she's like, no, we shouldn't have been closed off from men because we prevented ourselves from having the experience of, you know, love and, you know, childbirth.
Families and children. Yes, Hippolyta, the Amazons are warriors, but we are women too.
The whole thing is basically like, women want babies. Women want baby. Women should have babies. It's so obvious that this was written like in the 2000s because like it, to me, like it's, I'm coming from like, right, it's 2026 and like it's pretty much canon that like most or almost all of the Amazonians are queer women. So frankly, I don't care about this whole argument because I think it does go back to this like heteronormative kind of way of thinking of like all of this. Ares dies. They kill a fucking king. Kill a god. The god. He's not king. He's a god. He gets killed, and his death scene is awesome. It's a callback, obviously, to the scene where his son dies at the beginning of the movie. It's a great scene. It's super action-packed and cool, and the visual of it is great. And I really love the detail of, in his last moments, he's basically he's crying for daddy. Zeus! And he's crying out for the patriarchy. I'm reading it this way, of him kind of, you know, he's like, Papa, can you please spare me like you did the previous time? I want to talk about romance. That's my last kind of little thing I want to talk about with this movie. I mentioned earlier why I just don't really think the relationship between Steve and Diana ever really works for me. I think it just kind of is there because you're making a thing and it's got Wonder Woman in it and Steve Trevor's in it. Oh no, we have to have romance. Like, that is, to me, why it's there. And I don't love that that's always the case, because it's always the case with, I think, female-led movies. But to me, the strongest relationship in the entire film was one that I was trying to figure out if this was intentional. I didn't do that deep of digging. But to me, it feels like, you know, in the subtext of this dynamic, Artemis? Okay, so there is an Amazonian lady in this movie called Alexa. She's with Tara Strong. But she is basically supposed to... Alexa is like the studious, philosophizing Amazonian. She doesn't really like to fight. She doesn't do war. And you have Artemis being like, you're such a failure. You're not a real Amazonian because you can't kill anything. And she's like, but I want to read. You have this kind of conflict. But to me, I read the relationship as kind of gay. I think they have, to me, like, it, if anything, it would be kind of a barrier gaze trope, but it's not canon to the film, so I'm not going to say it is, per se. If it was canon to the film, then it probably would be barrier gaze. But I think it is, like, this really interesting kind of dynamic of, like, this relationship and the impact on her death, and also that kind of final scene where her corpse is, like, fighting her, and they're having this argument, and then they also, like, she's able to get her to, like, snap her out of it. And it's also like, hey, maybe reading is cool, and stuff. I think it's a wonderful little thing. And then like her Artemis honoring her at the end of the movie by basically reading a book. I think it's really sweet. And honestly, I was more invested in their dynamic than anyone else's. I thought they were really charming. So really the takeaway to me is, I know I've complained a bit, but like, here's what I want to say. I think it's a really good movie. I would recommend this one. I thought it was fun. I thought it was quite beautiful at times. A little too violent for my taste. But I think if this was written by a woman, it would have been a better movie. Yeah.
Wonder Woman's perfect.
This is in 2011. We have Wonder Woman, the TV pilot. This is only like 45 minutes long. It is obviously the shortest of these things. It was a TV pilot. And it was not ever advertised as a movie. And also, it wasn't ever advertised because it never came out. This is an unaired pilot that has been leaked online. You can look it up and you can watch it online. I'm not going to tell you where to find it online because it'll probably be taken down again. I had a good time. I had a really good time. And I'm going to be honest, I was looking into it. And multiple people who were in this were saying that they were interviewed like after the fact and were basically saying like, I was really disappointed it didn't get picked up. And I will tell you right now, I am disappointed that it didn't get picked up. Oh, I'm not going to act like this is the best thing ever, but I had such a good time watching this. I will tell you, just to keep in mind, this thing is so 2010, 2011. Also, I love Cary Elwes. He's doing an American accent in this, which is fine. I have previously said before that he has one of the sexiest voices in Hollywood, and I stand by that. I think he's playing a character that was made for this. I have never heard of this character before in my life, so that's what I'm assuming. Do need to actually talk about what actually happens in this thing. First of all, my first note, I burst out into laughter when Alan Dershowitz showed up on the TV with his fucking hardcover Constitution. I died. He pulls this, it turns to him, I can hear him talking, he's like, this isn't in the Constitution, and nobody says you can't do this, and it turns, and it's Cary Elwes watching the TV, and it's such a poor, like, edit onto the, because it's obviously, like, a raw cut of the pilot, like, this is not how I think it's actually supposed to look if this had aired on television, but it looks bad. It looks like, oh, we just, like, masked over like a blank TV. Like, it clearly isn't actually coming from the TV. But it's, like, supposed to be Alan Dershowitz. They cast Alan Dershowitz in this thing to play himself on TV. You know, Alan Dershowitz, the guy in the Epstein files.
Go above the law. I don't remember anything.
There's a lot of cameos in this, of, like, different little talking heads at the time. Nancy Grace shows up, and then, as I have written in my notes, Dr. Phil! Dr. Phil, and he's talking, and he's like, this woman is clearly a psychopath.
And the outfit? I mean, let's strut your stuff, I get that, but let's face it, the girl is a little nuts.
There's a scene, I feel like this is the obligatory, we're doing a drama about a woman who's single, and we have to do, like, the whole, like, she's barren, she's single. So she's sitting on the couch with her cat. The cat's name is Sylvester. He's a tuxedo cat. I saw him every time he showed up. He just was so cute, and it clearly, I think he wanted to leave, but they were kind of holding him down. I don't think he wanted to be on the couch, but he was so cute. So cute. Anyway, she's on the couch with the cat, and I've never seen The Notebook, but I think she's watching The Notebook. I don't know. Ryan Gosling, she has the TV on and she's watching a movie and she's like getting in her feels because she's single and she's barren. She doesn't have kids and she doesn't have a husband or a boyfriend. But she's watching a movie. It has Ryan Gosling in it. My assumption is that it's The Notebook. And okay. So they also have it be that she's Diana Prince, but she's also Diana Themyscira. And Diana Themyscira is her, like, public secret identity, but, like, Diana Prince is her, like, when she goes home and she's like, I don't want to deal with anything. Basically, Diana Themyscira runs a company called Themyscira something. And it's like, she's running a company. She's a girl boss. She has a company. And she is, you know, doing company stuff, and the company finances her beating up people. I don't love the company element. I'm gonna be honest. I thought that was a little unnecessary. Basically, Carrie Elwes is one of her employees, and then Etta Candy, queen, an icon, may I add. I thought they were great. I thought they were really great. Honestly, I kind of enjoyed everybody in this except for Elizabeth Hurley, who plays Veronica Cale. Wonder Woman, Diana, has a line where she says, I'd never said to merchandise my tits.
I never said to merchandise my tits.
And I thought, yeah! I mean, it's a very, I feel like 2010s feminist kind of thing to have, like, a comment like that. But I really liked it. I thought that whole thing was nice of her being like, you know, like, oh, Wonder Woman doesn't curse, Wonder Woman doesn't do this. It's all about, like, public figure and stuff.
Of course Wonder Woman isn't vulgar. Wonder Woman's perfect. Perfect tits, perfect ass, perfect teeth. I mean, look at these teeth.
I thought it was a good scene. I think if the show had gotten to actually happen, I think we might have gotten to see that be explored a bit more. Ooh, I hate her plane. Okay, she has like a plane that I don't know if it's supposed to be, it's not invisible, so I don't know. But her plane is so fucking ugly. It's the CGI plane, obviously, and it just looks bad. It just looks really bad. Oh, Pedro Pascal. Pedro Pascal is in this. If you know, he also played Maxwell Lord in Wonder Woman 1984, but they did not have the balls to make Maxwell Lord fully evil like he is in the comics. But then again, there was no Ted cord for him to shoot. So I love Pedro Pascal. He's great. He's really good in this. And also just in general, I really enjoyed this a lot. I had another moment where I laughed out loud, and that was when at the end of the pilot, she has re-met her ex-boyfriend. He's working for the government. He's working for the State Department. It's Steve Trevor, and he's married. But he says he's married. She's like, and she's like, oh, I'm dating. I'm single, but I get around, you know, in a way to be like, I'm not pathetic. But at the end, at the end of the pilot, she brings her cat out, Sylvester, the icon. The pilot ends with her making a Facebook account and setting her status as single. Yeah! Yeah, I thought this was just, in general, I thought the 2011 pilot, very fun. Very, very fun. I had a great time. I enjoyed it. I don't think it's for everybody. But if you're like me and you like something that has just some kind of mindless fun to it, I think you might enjoy it. But I think a lot of people would look at this and be like, this is really dumb and stupid. But if you're me and you have really high tolerance for stupid, I think, like, you might enjoy this. It's a fun time. If you can find it online, I would watch it. I did watch it. I really enjoy that I did watch it.
Back off, Wonder Woman!
Wonder Woman Bloodlines is a movie. It is set in the DC AMU. The DC AMU, the DC Animated Movie Universe, is a continuity that basically starts with Justice League Flashpoint Paradox. It's kind of still going on, but it's kind of also ended because basically Justice League Dark Apocalypse War sort of ends it, but then it's still technically going on for a couple more movies after that happens. And then they had the Crisis on Infinite Earths movies, and I think there's three of those. Three of those. And then I think maybe it ended. That might have killed it. I don't know. Wonder Woman Bloodlines is in this continuity, right? It's a New 52 inspired continuity, right? It is the only Wonder Woman movie in the entire continuity. I mean, obviously Wonder Woman had been in the other films, but this comes out in 2019. But I think it is the last movie before Justice League Dark Apocalypse War. It's a refresh, baby. We're refreshing everything. First of all, Rosario Dawson, we brought her up before. She voiced Artemis, right, in the 2009 movie. She's back, but she's voicing Wonder Woman. In general, I will say I think there's some clear problems. I think the romance is not great. I think the jokes aren't the best, per se. I didn't think that many of the performances were that great. My first note is about the purple healing ray joke. I thought that was funny.
It's all healed.
Wow. What is this thing?
The purple healing ray.
Yeah, but what is it called?
The purple healing ray.
And then I looked it up, and the purple healing ray is a real thing. What this movie taught me is that I don't actually know that much about Wonder Woman, and I think that's pissing me off. I feel like a failure for not knowing what for not knowing, like, I think the things that other Wonder Woman people who read Wonder Woman comics are gonna be like, oh, I don't think they're gonna care that I didn't know about the purple healing ray. But there's some characters that I was like, I've never heard of this person in my life. And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, this is a well-known character. Ooh. Don't worry. Like, here's the thing. I knew who Cheetah was, obviously. I knew who Giganta was. I knew who Veronica Cale was. I did know who Silver Swan, is that what it is? Fun fact about Dr. Poison, I had never heard of Dr. Poison before I saw the 2017 movie. Did not know who that was when I saw that. And I come to you multiple years later. It's almost 10 I think it's almost 10 years since that movie came out. Obviously, I think next year we'll make it 10 years. But there's another character in this. Okay, there's a villain in this. Her name is Dr. Cyber. I fully had no clue who this was, and basically spent most of the movie thinking we're gonna reveal to this being Veronica Cale. Newsflash to me, that's an actual character in the comics, and it's not Veronica Cale. So I was mistaken. I wasn't right about that, and that's on me for not knowing who this character was. The relationship. This was such a boring relationship. Steve and Diana, I think they have a little bit more chemistry in this than they have in, like, other stuff. Actually, I think the 74 film is really where I felt like Diana and Steve had the most chemistry, and I think it's because we weren't really focusing on them as, like, a romantic pair. We were really focusing on them more as a friendship. And to some extent, we get that friendship element at the beginning of Bloodlines, and I similarly kind of wish it was a friendship per se, but I think it works a little bit more here.
a little bit more, but I do think it is kind of just a boring relationship. There's parts that I think are really compelling and interesting, but overall I don't find this relationship the most interesting in general, and I think it's because I don't find Steve Trevor to be very interesting. Oh, they do the whole there's a when Silver Swan, is that her name, becomes, you know, her first appearance, right? Because her actual name's Vanessa, and Diana's like, Vanessa, and she basically does. My first thought when I heard it was like, oh my god, look what you made me do. It's literally like the old Vanessa can't come into the phone right now. Why? Oh, because she's dead. She basically is like, Vanessa's dead. I'm Silver Swan now. And I love that. So there is, this is kind of funny. Basically, when Diana fights Cheetah, and she basically is like, so Dr. Cyber and Dr. Poison have formed a company, and all the stocks are people who want to kick your ass. And that is really funny to me. It's also lame, but it's really funny to me.
Poison and Cyber have formed a regular Villains Incorporated to take you down. And they mean business, giving stock options to anyone willing to join their little startup.
So the Minotaur shows up, and he's like, they're like, and she's like, what's your name? And then Steve makes a joke, and is like, Ferdinand? And I wrote, shut the fuck up. And then they went with it. Fuck you, movie. And then I will say, I found out this morning that Ferdinand is actually the name of a character. That this is an actual thing in the comics. The idea of the Minotaur being named Ferdinand, just to me, just pisses me off. It just pisses me off. I don't care if this is a thing in the comics. This makes me upset. I didn't love the art style either. I thought the art style was kind of... just some of the faces kind of end up looking off at times. I want to talk about the ending. I think for the most part, the movie is kind of like okay. For majority of the running, it's like a little, it's not the best. It's just kind of whatever. This movie is an hour and 22 minutes long, I'm pretty sure. And really, I would say if we're counting the credits in here, really it's when it hits the hour mark that I think this movie actually gets the strongest that it is. There's like a little bit of the ending I don't love, and we'll get into that. But I do think it really sucks that it takes an hour for this movie to be like, I think, pretty solid. So, in the comics, I cannot tell you what storyline, because I do not remember, nor do I know, because I never read it. But I am aware of it. But in the 2000s, basically there's a storyline where Wonder Woman goes against Medusa, and in the storyline she eventually blinds herself. And it's this big moment, right? And she proceeds to actually be blind. And like after the storyline ends, she's blind for it's a little bit of time before she gets healed. She's not permanently blinded, okay? This is how I found out that the purple healing ray is an actual thing in the comics, is because I was doing some digging on DC Database, and they mentioned it in I think the issue where as like an item that appears in the issue that she, I believe, is healed from her blindness. But it did last like a couple issues and stuff. She was not just immediately healed from this blindness that she induces on herself so that she can fight Medusa, and I assume she kills her. She is effectively, doing it so she doesn't like turn into stone, but it is like, it's a huge moment when you really think about it. And
this film is partially, I think, adapting that storyline, because she blinds herself in this movie. Spoilers. I've been spoiling all of these things, so I don't know what you expect. And this was really like the thing that I thought was really interesting, that they did adapt this, and I thought this fight scene was really good and really interesting. It's at the end of the movie, and I think the visual of her blinding herself is really interesting.
No! Look at me! As you wish.
This is the strongest part of the entire film. I think it's really interesting. It's a really compelling scene, but it is very cheapened by the fact that in less than 10 minutes after this moment, we have the fight scene. We have this whole fight scene, and then like after the Medusa is dead, seconds later, we cut to her fully getting healed with the purple healing ray, and she's not blind anymore. And to me, I think this moment, this huge sacrifice she makes, is made less impactful by this choice. Now, I will say, I understand why they healed her. You know, she's Wonder Woman, and she's obviously going to be in the next movie, so we should have her, you know, be able to see so she can beat up Darkseid and stuff. But what if we didn't do that? This is my proposal. I think they should have put a limit on how much the purple healing ray could have been used. Like, maybe there's a bit more of a gap. You know, you have to wait a little bit before you can use it again, or you can only use it once at a time, you know? Really, the one person who it is most imperative gets healed is Vanessa, aka Silver Swan, because she's got a virus in her that's fucking killing her. She is gonna die, okay? I mean, yeah, Diana's got a lot of snake bites, but I don't think Steve Trevor's little tiny cut on his cheek is that important. Here's my argument to why they should have done this. There was only one more movie left in this continuity. If Apocalypse War was going to restart everything anyway, does it really matter if we keep her blind? We don't cheapen that moment of, you know, her blinding herself. I get why they didn't do it, but I wish they had. I wish we could keep this cool little character quality. It makes it also mean that this film has more stakes, because I haven't seen Apocalypse War, but I'm assuming that, I mean, Apocalypse War has stakes. I know some of the gist of what happens in Apocalypse War. Really, for me, is just, I'm a little disappointed. I do think I should probably read more Wonder Woman. I will say, I feel very accomplished, you know, for having watched everything Wonder Woman related, except for the TV show. I will watch it eventually. It's on my list. I would like to watch it at some point, but haven't done that. So, yeah. Unrelated, I think this will be sort of my return to YouTube to some extent. For the most part, outside of like my short films that I made in school, minus some of them, I don't really have much of my YouTube stuff from when I was in high school. I have taken off the internet. I do have a video essay that I made in college for a class that is, it's private. I might make it public. It's about Van Helsing. It's not like the most detailed video or anything. It's in fact quite short, and I didn't really get into a lot of stuff, primarily because I had a time limit for how much I could talk. So really, if people want to see that, I'll make it public. I will. But the high school stuff, I don't really want to. I'm not proud of that stuff really as much. But I will say I do really want to get back into doing this stuff. I have some ideas of things I'd like to do. I don't know if I particularly just want to talk about DC movies. I previously made a video about the Barbie movies. I kind of would love to do that again. It would require me having to rewatch all of them again. And I don't really feel like doing that. But maybe I would do something about like my favorite ones. I have a lot of DC opinions that I can talk about for a while. But I don't want to be a comic book YouTuber. I very much still want to stay in the realm of film. Maybe some literature. I will say, okay, this is an idea. I have a copy of the Catwoman book that Sarah J. Maas wrote that I bought at an Ollie's for $2. And I have been thinking about for a while going through it and talking about the movie, and I'm and going through it and talking about the book because I have not read it, but I think it would be really dumb and funny. So because I have heard like it is the most insane of like the DC Icons YA books, so I think that could be funny. I've got a lot of ideas. I kind of also want to use this to go through my massive film TBR. I have so many movies. So many movies that I need to watch. I have to get so much shit off of my DVR. Yes, I still have cable. I have so many films that I have recorded off of TCM that I need to get through because my parents are switching our cable provider, and we've been talking about doing this for a while. The problem is there's so much shit on this DVR. There's so much stuff. But yeah, I think it's fun. It's kind of fun. I'm glad to kind of be sort of back at this. I actually don't even know if this microphone is working. That's gonna be tragic if it's not. But hey, I might not have the best audio quality or anything. I don't have the best equipment. I'm filming this on my laptop. Yeah. So, thank you. I'll see you again sometime.